Welcome to Beating Cancer Daily. Beating stage 4 cancer for 30 years still takes my breath away every time I say it. I'm Saranne, founder of the Comedy Cures Foundation, and I hope you'll join me for just a few minutes daily for the next 365 days so we may laugh, learn, maybe cry a little as we live our best days beating cancer daily together. What if I said to you that from this day forward, I want you to think of your mind and body as being fraternal twins, that they were related and joined and were going to be together forevermore, and that you couldn't consider something in your brain without thinking of the ramifications of the body, and something with the body without thinking of the ramifications of the brain. So the mind-body connection. Now, almost 3 decades ago, when I was misdiagnosed with cancer, that wasn't a very popular concept. And when I was talking about it to medical teams, you could see their eyes just gloss over. Being a medical intuitive was not respected, and therefore my cancer wasn't properly diagnosed for 6 years. Now, over the past decades and having beaten stage 4 cancer, people are very curious about, Saranne, how did you do it? How did you know 6 years in advance? And how, when nothing worked, 3 surgeries, 44 radiation treatments, and 2.5 years of chemotherapy did not get me out of the woods on this cancer. And I went on to save my life, basically. How did I do it? And if the biggest thing I could teach you today, and if you couldn't listen to the 364 other episodes of this podcast, I would say to completely honor and respect your own mind and body connection. Now, people always say to me, would you do it all again? Would you do the surgeries? Would you do the radiation? Would you do the chemotherapy? I would. I believe that you take a very comprehensive approach to beating cancer. And that's why we developed this podcast after we did our first research study, because we started to show the power of connecting advanced cancer patients to their mind and their body. Our second Comedy Cures research study takes this even further, because in the second research study, we focus more on the body than the mind. But when you put them both together, they complement each other beautifully. And we're starting to get this picture of how the mind and body really works together to create a better quality of life when you're going through cancer treatment. Now, I talked to my friend Kathy Pudiak a lot, and she provides a lot of research and a lot of exciting ideas for the Comedy Cures Foundation and also for Beating Cancer Daily. If you haven't gotten to know Kathy, she is a mind-body expert who submits information for our newsletter. She's also the editor of the newsletter. We discuss really interesting research concepts so that I can further my knowledge and she can further her knowledge. And Kathy was integral in this episode about what is the mind-body connection. She actually gave me this quote from Dr. James Gordon, who's the founder of the Mind-Body Medicine Center in Washington, D.C. And I want to read it to you because I think it's a really good description of the mind-body connection. Dr. Gordon says, the brain and peripheral nervous system, the endocrine and immune systems, and indeed all the organs of our body and all the emotional responses we have share a common chemical language and are constantly communicating with one another. So just absorb that. This means that our mind, our thoughts, feelings, and emotions have a direct effect on all aspects of our physical bodies and physical health. This idea has always been at the tenet of ancient cultures and even Western medicine up to a certain point. But there was a time around the 17th century where the tide turned and the mind and body were believed to be two completely separate entities. But during the 20th century, the original idea of the mind-body connection was proven through scientific research, and now it's very well accepted. And because I was so familiar with so many concepts about the mind-body connection, even though my cancer treatment wasn't working for my specific aggressive cancer, I was doing everything possible through communicating with my mind and body to keep myself healthy, even though I had aggressive cancer, and really going organ by organ and throughout my whole psyche, throughout my emotions, through my levels of depression or anxiety or stress, and constantly checking in and constantly working to heal my mind and body together. Both Kathy and I love this 2008 Dr. Dean Ornish study. It was done with men with early prostate cancer who made lifestyle changes, not only including nutritional changes, but stress management reduction through meditation. Wait till you hear these results. After only 3 months of making these changes, the researchers analyzed the study subjects' genes, not their Levi's, people, but their genes. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Okay, that not only did the lifestyle changes improve their quality of life, they actually affected the expression of over 500 genes. Genes that promote tumor growth were turned off, and genes that suppress tumor growth were turned on. These are absolutely unbelievably incredible results. Now, that's a groundbreaking study. And in our small way, the Comedy Cure study also showed similar results. So this and many studies are truly groundbreaking because they show that our thoughts, emotions, and feelings can not only impact the quality of our life, but how our genes work. There is healing potential when we combine all of these approaches to handle our cancer. Now, if you go back and you start listening to all the Beating Cancer Daily episodes, you will see that day by day, practice by practice, we really look at this mind-body connection. So I want you to really go deep here if this is your first episode that you've ever listened to, because we have unbelievable ability to impact our wellness. Now, some people will say, oh my gosh, I have aggressive cancer and it's not stopping. What am I doing? Am I failing with my mind and body? What am I doing? This is very delicate and very fragile. No one's failing. It just means that we haven't hit the right combination yet. It took 2.5 years for me to figure out how to get my mind and body working together on the same team. And I've been cancer-free for over 21 years now. So I just keep learning new things and adapting. So if you aren't having success, I just want you to keep learning and keep trying new things until you hit the combination that you need. And as I said, I would never, ever tell someone not to have traditional cancer treatment. I did everything and anything that was possibly available to me 24 years ago when I was finally diagnosed. So there is a really interesting quote by a neuroscientist, Ivana Burek, who has 2 PhDs. And Kathy and I discussed this, and we really love this quote. Millions of people around the world already enjoy the health benefits of mind-body interventions like yoga or meditation. What they perhaps don't realize is that these benefits begin at a molecular level and can change the way our genetic code goes about its business. These activities are leaving what we call a molecular signature in our cells, which reverses the effect that stress or anxiety would have on the body by changing how our genes are expressed. Put simply, mind-body interventions cause the brain to steer our DNA processes along a path which improves our well-being. Again, like the Dean Ornish study, she is talking about how powerful this mind-body intervention is. So, what are some of the things you can do? We've mentioned yoga and meditation in this episode already. You know that I love the impact of laughter, humor, positivity, play, and a comic perspective, and how that starts to shift because we have neuroplasticity and we can start to think differently and therefore act differently in response to having cancer, beating cancer, and our survivorship. There are many other things that also can improve this mind-body connection. We've talked about hugging on a prior episode. I deal with how to manage problems. I really think that if you can open up your heart and mind to this possibility of you being a great healer of your own being, this creates an endless possibility. We only use 3 or 4% of our brain. And if we start to follow what this research is telling us and the way we looked at health before the 17th century, we have an avenue and a lane to start to walk down. I can tell you that it takes practice. You get really good at what you practice. The more you practice being conscious of the mind-body connection, even your breathing. Now, we've done some episodes on breathing. We're going to do more. But if we can actually start with the simplest part, breathing, we can start to shift the flow and energy within our bodies. And you know what? My theory was if none of this worked, at least I had fun learning something new, trying something new, and it distracted me from what I was actually being told, which was get my affairs and that I was going to die within the next few years of aggressive non-responsive cancer. And again, that was over 2 decades ago, and I'm still considered cancer-free. So please keep your heart and mind open to this healing process. And let's take this day by day and focus on beating cancer daily together. You know that I love to find some humor about the topic that I'm presenting. And that's probably why I started the organization called the Comedy Cures Foundation. So I found this cartoon that was so cute. It's a nightclub and 2 bouncers are in front, and then they have a image of what a gene would look like, a scientific gene. And one of the bouncers points at this twisted gene and says, so it looks like scientific gene, which is kind of like a swirly ladder. And the the bouncer says, "Sorry, dude, no genes." I was thinking about writing a joke more about 501s and Levi's, but I actually found this cartoon and I thought it was so cute. Have a blessed day. Since this is just a bite-sized podcast, I hope that this is a great story starter for you to go deeper and start to adopt some of the practices that we've already taught here. I'll see you tomorrow. If you've enjoyed this podcast, then I'd love to ask for you to go to comedycures.org and check out our membership circle levels. You will find even more resources and more programming, like our live virtual Q&A sessions with me, our live Comedy Cures events with our very talented comedians, live health builder workshops with Jackie Bryan, hosted by me, a robust monthly newsletter, plus much more. It's really an exciting community. So please consider becoming a member, giving it as a gift, telling your friends, telling your hospital support group all about this community. I can't think of a more empowering way to go through a cancer journey or your survivorship or your caregiving experience than with us at Beating Cancer Daily. It's truly an honor to serve you. Thanks so much. See you tomorrow. Guess what time it is? It's time for me to read the disclaimer. Beating Cancer Daily and the membership circle are not in lieu of medical advice or treatment. They are for entertainment purposes only. Please consult your healthcare team to review your best strategy. Thanks for listening.